Okay, everybody. This is, super duper good news segment. You're going to be hearing this on the Dr. Pat Show as well as on our new iPower podcast segment. Look, here's the deal. I'm a small business owner. And if there could be a nickel for everything I did not know or did not do properly, I wouldn't be saying I'm a small business owner. I would be a big business owner. But joining me here today is Richard Whitworth. And why is he here? Managing Director, Business Consulting, Cetera Financial Group. We are talking about what? Trends in the current small business climate. Richard, thank you for joining me here today. I don't think I'm any different than anybody else. Like if I had a nickel for every step I took where I stepped in a pothole along this pathway, I would be so rich, right?
You know, Dr. Pat, you're square on, and you hit it right on the head, is that the beauty of being a small business owner is that you have a plethora of opportunities in front of you. The challenge of being a small business owner is to really think about formally, how am I going to navigate those waters to an eventual end, which for most people is growth, and ultimately growth sustainably over the long term. But there are pitfalls along the way that I think that if you take that formal empirical approach to running your business, you're going to hopefully be able to navigate those waters more effectively than not.
Look, one of the things I love to talk about is helping people be successful. This week is Small Business Week, or we're getting ready, fired up for it. I just got to ask you a question. If we could take a look at where we are today, where we were, how would you characterize the current business environment for small businesses, right? Not just Main Street or Main Street Financial Advisors, but, where the heck are we? Are we doing okay?
Sure, that's a great question, Dr. Pat. And I think by and large, looking at both sort of the macroeconomic data as well as just the anecdotal evidence we hear from working with the 8,000 financial advisors who affiliate with us, and through them, their end clients who cut the cloth from teacher, firefighter, policeman to business owner, I think the climate is still very good. We just came out with some really good GDP information recently. We're still in a upswing in the market cycle, and what we're hearing from advisors and through them, their business owner clients, is that the environment is good. There's still capital to invest in the business. I think that people have been able to take some profits off of the top and thankfully reinvest them in the business versus taking them more just as a distribution. I also think that as investors are coming to our advisors as clients, they're coming with more unique and complex circumstances that demand professional financial advice. Here we are 10 years or 8 to 10 years into an upswing in a bull market, and things are still going really well. We're seeing growth in the international markets. We're still seeing growth across both manufacturing and professional services in the United States. I mean, by and large, the climate is good right now for small business owners. That being said, we do think that as part of your normal business planning cycle, you have to prepare for the downturn. And when we work with our business owner clients, we're constantly having the discussion, hey, times are good, but how is the business able to withstand a 10 or 15% drop in revenue? Do you have enough in retained earnings to be able to weather that downturn? Do you have a service model in place that's going to adhere to your standards and exceed client expectations regardless of where you are in the market cycle? Those are all good business management discussions and initiatives to embark upon, because that solidifies you regardless of where you are in the cycle.
One of the other things I love to talk about, and I want to ask you about this as well, we are in the independent radio business, meaning we pay a lot of money for airtime on stations all over the country and also abroad. We're an international show. We're on FM stations in Australia. But here's the thing we learned, and I want to ask you about it. One of the counterintuitive things that I've been told that we did in 2007 and 8, remember that year? Maybe you're not as old as I am.
Oh, I remember.
But we've been doing this. Yeah, we've been doing this 15 years. One of the counterintuitive things we did, we grew. We built an entire new network of radio. How counterintuitive is that? Should people be thinking about, this is what I do now, but what might I do differently as I move forward? Is that part, too, of looking at what the advisors do and say to people, hey, can you be creative? What can you do to overcome some of these challenges creatively?
Absolutely. When we work with our advisors and their clients on a regular basis, I'm a big believer in taking advantage of chaos and disruption. You know, when the 2007, 2008, when really everyone was wondering, you know, is this capitalist system that we have disintegrating right now? The people who were able to capture that disruption and find a way to drive change through that are the ones that were the most successful. And it gets down to just the basic building blocks of being a good business owner. You know, when we look at the industry, we know that clients don't leave financial advisors because of poor investment returns. They by and large leave because of poor service and poor communication. And service and communication are two attributes of running a successful business that operate regardless of where the market cycle is. And those firms, I think, during a downturn that are able to reach out and proactively engage their clients, how can we help you? We're weathering this storm with you side by side, but we know this is just a portion or a segment of the cycle. Let's figure out a way to take advantage of this disruption. I mean, people, even you think about this 07, 08 time frame, people made money in the capital markets. They may have gone into non-correlated asset classes. They may have done things differently. But there are always opportunities to take advantage of that disruption and drive that business growth.
Many things to talk about, but let's make sure that we tell folks, first of all, how they can find out more about this, right? Because, you know, as people start to think of what's my purpose in this world, what do I want to do, how can they find out more? And then I want to get to some tips for people.
Definitely. So in terms of Cetera Financial Group, the easiest way to find us is www.cetera.com. We have about 8,000 financial advisors who affiliate with one of our 6 broker-dealers, and we really believe that regardless of what the client need is, we have a Main Street advisor who's going to be able to help them achieve their financial objectives and financial well-being. Me personally, easiest way to reach out is on LinkedIn. It's just Richard, and my last name is Whitworth, W-H-I-T-W-O-R-T-H. And I can say that one of my personal beliefs is, and my commitments is, I want to help business owners make the right decisions, because I fully believe that if I can engage a business owner and help he or she maximize the value of their enterprise, that we're going to end up helping that Main Street American achieve an objective. And I don't care if that's how they're going to buy groceries or take care of their families or invest for their financial well-being. If we operate as independent, successful, strategic business owners, everyone's going to win across that equation.
I love that we're talking about this. Now, look, I know we've got a few minutes left, but I want to make sure that for our listeners, many of them are small business owners, really super great people in the Western Washington, Seattle area, as well as across the country. So one of the things that I want to make sure that they have is some of the top, right now, 2019 tips from you all.
Definitely, and I think it falls into 2 specific categories. The first of which I would say is managing to the bottom line with metrics. Every business, regardless of the industry or the sector in which it operates, should have 3 to 5 financial metrics that they're able to easily calculate and track on a repeatable basis. That could be something as simple as revenue per professional, or the number of clients that a support person or a client service associate is managing, because it allows you to capacity plan much more proactively for your organization. If your marketing and business development does really well and all of a sudden you add an extra 100 new clients to your firm, you can make sure your staffing model is ready to absorb that new business and maintain and exceed those client expectations. The second category, I would say, is around the continuity and the succession aspect. Too often the old phrase, the cobbler's children wear no shoes, is no more apt than with a small business owner. And when we think about continuity and succession, we separate it into 3 specific areas. The first of which is the physical business continuity. What happens if there is a disruption in the business on a daily basis, be it weather-related or just the power grid goes out? The second one is the personal continuity of the principal owner and operator, meaning, can you step out of your business for 1, 2, 3 weeks for disability, illness, or because your spouse is ready to take that 3-week European vacation? Do you have the systems and procedures and processes repeatably in place that you can step out and the business can survive without you being there to pick up the phone on a Monday morning? And lastly is the formal exit strategy for the the business owner, the G1 business owner, the Generation 1, making sure that your exit strategy is formally noted and known to both staff, clients, as well as your beneficiaries or spouse. Because for most small business owners, the monetization of the business upon retirement is their biggest economic windfall and drives their own personal retirement. In addition, it solidifies the legacy of the Generation 1 owner. Most business owners are in it because they love clients and they love helping people achieve an objective. And making sure that you have a formal exit planning process in place both maximizes the equity investment or the enterprise value of your organization, but helps ensure its legacy is going to survive after you ride off into the sunset and that G2 or that next-gen professional comes in to manage, own, and operate the business.
Yeah, I love what you just shared with us. And, what you're really talking about is smart business that many people don't think about. There is an emotional, there's a psychological, and then there is a physical repercussion from that exit strategy you just talked about. And most of the time, we only think about the physical part. But what happens to the people that stay behind, as well as the new person, sometimes can cause the business to continue to thrive or literally tank. And I'm really thrilled that you brought that up, because there is a strategy for that supports and motivates people, and a strategy sometimes right that sometimes you need to keep that first generation a little bit in the loop, but other times not. Again, thank you for today. I want to ask you a couple more questions. One is, please say that website again for everybody.
Definitely, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you and your listeners. The website for Cetera is www.cetera.com.
Financial services. We now know that there are many, many small business owners in financial services, and you talked about a few things. I want to ask you kind of a trend question. I'm not sure, how much information you have. I know personally that women are coming to the forefront of small business entrepreneurship at a rate and a pace that we have never seen in history. Are we prepared to adapt and adjust to these new kind of small business owners? And, I'm not going to go to men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but there is some truth to that, especially even in business.
Absolutely, Dr. Pat. And I think you bring up a really great point, which is I believe that small business owners, and specifically, financial advisors as small business owners, we should represent the fabric of society. And we should have the team members and staff persons on hand to be able to meet the needs of clients. Women as a segment of our industry is growing really rapidly, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it, because yes, you can say men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but I think that what female financial advisors bring to the table, a lot more than their male counterparts, is a level of emotional intelligence. It's the old idea of being eye to eye and on the same side of the table with someone. And I believe, and I come from a matriarchal family, and I know it from my grandmom and my mom, is that they were tremendous professionals and individuals, and I think that women are in a unique position to help drive this industry and this profession forward. I mean, we even know statistically that approximately 70 to 80% of assets will leave the primary financial advisor at the death of one of the spouses, and more often than not, it's the male who passes away first. The female in the relationship hasn't had control over the finances, if you kind of think of it from a generalization standpoint, and then they're not going to work with the financial advisor that was the previous relationship with the male spouse. So this generational wealth transfer and this spousal wealth transfer is just inevitably going to draw towards female advisors, and I couldn't be more excited about it because of that level of emotional intelligence I think that they bring to the table, knowing that financial management is as much about your investing behavior as it is about your own personal behavior.
Yeah. Thank you so very much. I know you got to run. Thank you so much for everything today. And again, please leave us with the website.
Yep, it's www.cetera.com. And thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today.
All right. And boy, did he speak. We're going to take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.